thank you everyone for joining us. And for those new here, my name is Vlad. I'm Tatiana Kozorovitsky's son, and I'm a co-founder of Dressmaking Academy as we know it today. And I'm so happy to see you on this live session exclusively for VIP members. And today we have a really special guest, Raul Penaranda, declared by Vogue magazine the new king of New York Fashion Week and a friend of CFDA. He is the third American designer with Latin roots that, along Oscar de la Renta and Carolina Herrera, has presented 31 uninterrupted collections at New York Fashion Week. That's super impressive. Let me share a short video just to give you the understanding.
To Caracas and now the Big Apple. Raul Peñaranda is among the designers who took New York Fashion Week by storm.
Le vamos a dar la bienvenida
A uno de los grandes y más aclamados diseñadores latinos de este magno evento. Él es colombiano. We've got a sneak peek on fall looks from this Colombian, Venezuelan, American designer, Raul Peñaranda.
Les cuento que uno de los diseñadores que continúa imponiendo su estilo en el mundo de la moda es, sin lugar a duda, Raul Peñaranda.
Because of a determined designer from Colombia. His name is Raul Peñaranda.
Raúl Peñaranda, el rebelde de la moda.
Raúl Peñaranda sigue dando pasos firmes y exitosos en Manhattan, corazón y meca de la industria de la moda.
Raul Peñaranda. I'm trying to say that right. He's Colombian, he's amazing.
Raúl, eres un orgullo hispano.
Es puro orgullo colombiano, latino. El diseñador colombiano Raúl Peñaranda, este hombre que es inspirador y muy talentoso.
Y es que la revista Vogue de México lo declaró como el nuevo rey de las pasarelas del New York Fashion Week y ahora pues estás, digamos, en el buen pool de los diseñadores hispanos que hacen historia dentro del mundo de la moda mundial.
Vogue México hace un pronunciamiento favorable a su señoría con respecto al nuevo rey de la pasarela en Nueva York.
He has also gone to become a prolific fashion designer.
New king of New York Fashion Week, and his Colombian heritage is present in everything he does.
Raúl Peñaranda, el rebelde de la moda.
Raúl's recognition exploded. Mexican Vogue even called him the king of Fashion Week.
Raúl Peñaranda, el gran diseñador internacional. Entrevistó al diseñador colombiano Raúl Peñaranda.
My name is Raúl Peñaranda. I'm a Colombo Venezuelan designer established in New York City.
To the front and one to the side.
Raúl Peñaranda, thank you so much.
Raúl, thank you so much. So this session is going to be interactive. So guys, I hope you came prepared with your questions. And so on your screen, on the bottom, you see the heart symbol, which is, it says react. And when you click on it, there is raising hand gesture. And so this way we will know, Raul will know whose question to answer. And this way it will be easier for us to navigate the conversation. And I'll be trying to help, but I think it would be easy to understand. And alrighty then, Raul, the stage is yours.
Well, first of all, Vlad and the Dressmaking Academy and all your team and everyone who's watching, I just want to say thank you. I got to tell you, usually a little story. When Vlad contacted me to do this, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like a kid with a new toy. I'm super excited. But then I started thinking, you know what? Hold on. Every time that I'm going to see somebody else speak, like when I was younger, and I used to see Ralph Lauren or Calvin Klein, I got to tell you something. They tell you inspiring stories. They tell you that you can do whatever you want in the world. But then I was going home and I was thinking, hold on, inspiration can only take me further. So I wish in those conversations, I was able to ask questions because I was always that little kid that was always, like curious. In the curiosity, was basically the door for me to learn. So I want to start that. I want this conversation, I want this session to be a candid conversation. Imagine you're with your good friend, and with your friend, what you do, you talk gossip, you talk good things, bad things. But this conversation, I want it to be meaningful because I feel that when I start in fashion, I made so many mistakes. The good thing is that I learned from those mistakes. And now that I'm part of Friends of CFDA, one of my responsibilities is to be the light that I didn't have for all those who's coming after me. So first thing we're gonna do is basically, let's do a candid conversation. I'm really happy to answer all the questions and to guide through this conversation that we're gonna do today. So, Blood, I just wanna ask you something. For example, how would I know? Would you let me know when somebody has a question? Because in my screen, I think I don't have the option to see that.
I think you do, but now no one's raised the.
Okay, no, exactly. Because the thing is this. Let's keep this. I want to kind of like I have a little bit introduction of the story, but within that subject, any questions is always answered. For example, I like Vlad said, I started in fashion, and I have 20 years in fashion, right? 10 years that I work for other brands. I was born in Cali, Colombia. I grew up in Venezuela, in Miami as well. And since I was a kid, guys, this is now I can laugh, but I'm the four of three sisters. My mom was a seamstress. My dad, the coach of one of the most powerful soccer teams in Colombia. When I grew up, my dad is like, this is the soccer player. When he took me to the first practice, guys, I was so clumsy. I didn't know the balloon was rectangle. It was a mess. But then I was growing up in a very Latin Mayan culture. My dad will hide me, my mom will hide me under the sewing machine when my dad was leaving. And I was passing buttons and doing this thing. So my love for fashion started because I see my mom doing dresses for my sisters and one shirt with the leftovers for me. And I was like, hold on. I'm such a curious boy that I want to create a game because I came with no money. I came with no contacts, but I was millionaire in values. My family told me, work hard, be disciplined, be resilient, and always transforms the no into a yes. And since I was a kid, I was always telling my mom, I will see the commercials of Dior, Fendi, Yves Saint Laurent, and I'm going to be like that. My mom will be like, yes, as long as the 2 feet are always on the ground. So that's when I start my career. So if we're gonna start talking about what will be the three things that you must have in order to be successful, either as a student fashion designer and having a business, number one, you have to have the goal so clear. When I say so clear, is like, in my case, my goal hasn't changed. My goal was I want to become the biggest power fashion house for the next generation with a humble heart. Things hasn't changed. What changed is 10 years ago, people, when they hear this from me, they will be like, this guy's crazy. This guy smokes something. Today, they're telling me, how the F are you doing it? So that's number one. Number two, guys, is basically you need to love what you're doing. Like, to me, fashion is a personal opinion and it's part of my life. So you have to desire to be around fashion. And number three is we always try to tend to romance the successes. We want to always tell our friends when everything is good. But you know what? We need to romance the failures. We need to understand that when you fail, there is a hidden lesson that if you learn that lesson, it won't be repeated. So that's kind of like, to start my three pieces of advice. After I came from Miami, I got the best opportunity because I went to work for Donna Karan, and then from Donna Karan to Tommy Hilfiger, Oscar de la Renta. And guys, you know what? I was learning the good, the bad, and I was trying to make my own place in fashion. So I know that we talked today, and it will be nice to hear at what process in the journey of a brand all of you are. Like, if some of you want to say, hey, Raul, I'm just starting. I just want to learn how to sell a collection. I want to see how can I market in a fashion. So please raise your hands and let me know, okay? In any minute, hold on. Okay, perfect. feel free to kind of like, in any process of this conversation to say, Raul, I have a question for you. Also, you know what is important is you always think about 4 cities in the world when you talk about fashion. You talk about New York, London, Paris, and Milan. But that doesn't mean that if you live in another remote area, you cannot be successful. I think that fashion, again, is just a personal opinion. And I think that a collection, a color, a silhouette is how you're going to express it into the world. So I think that when we talk, and we were going through the agenda of how to start a collection, a collection is basically the balance of 2 things: something very abstract that is in your mind, and something very tangible that is a collection. I think that my best advice at the beginning is like, you have to try to have a perfect balance of creative mind and a business mind. Because otherwise, I guess by creating dresses, the brand will never survive. I remember a funny story is like when I came to New York, I was thinking, my God, I don't come from money. I don't have any connections. What will be the best place that I can meet somebody? And you know what, guys? In 2001, I came to New York from Miami, and I got a job as a concierge of one of the most prestigious hotels in New York City. And I remember I was on Fifth Avenue, and basically the hotel was my only way that I could find somebody who can give me a chance. Made long story short, I was one day working with this penguin uniform, and I remember looking at the computer and I see 4 letters, DKNY. And I'm like, holy crap, this is Donna Karan. One executive of Donna Karan was a guest. I'm always carried crayons and paper. And my boss said to me, Raul, why don't you go and buy a birthday card for this gentleman? Instead of going and buying a birthday card, I said, hold on, what if I do the card for him? I did the card, I give it to the guest. The next day, guys, the manager of the hotel come to me and said, Raul, Mr. Crawford is impressed with your card. He wants to say thank you. And guys, when I talked to that guy from Dominicana, he said, you have an incredible eye for color. And he asked me, are you happy here? Guys, that was the pivot moment in my career, because I looked to the left, I looked to the right, and I whispered, no, I want to be in the other side of the desk. And you know what? He said, I'm going to give you a chance. He sent me to FIT to take few classes and to prepare something called portfolio. I have no idea what was a portfolio. And then he told me, when I hear something, that there is an opening of one of these companies, I'll let you know. Guys, 6 months passed by, and I got an email where he said there is an opening for assistant wovens at Donna Karan. I was so nervous because he said to me, you know what, don't get excited because you're going to compete with other designers from Parsons and FIT. I don't have a degree. Guys, the night before, I was studying what is a hem, what is the pattern. Anyway, I went and I got the job. And from there, it was kind of like the most uplifting journey, because at least in my case, I said, you know what? We all are going to make mistakes. Mistakes are part essential of the growth. I want to make mistakes while I'm learning from somebody. So when I work for these big fashion houses, I learned what was good, what was bad, and I took it to start my own brand. Everybody's cool. All right.
Yeah. I see a hand from Germain. Do you see it? Germain, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I'm sorry. We can hear you. You need to turn on your microphone. Germain? Okay. Valencia Harris is raising her hand.
Hi there. How are you all?
How are you?
I'm so glad to hear from you and to see you.
And I'm happy to see you too.
My name is Valencia. I am not a designer. I'm not a designer wannabe. I am a teacher. I am a big cheerleader for the students that I had that wanted to be designers. So, and I'm always happy to be here to learn more from designers so I can relay that information to them. So, my question is that you mentioned you made a lot of mistakes, and I'd like to hear from you. What were some of the mistakes that you made, and what were the lessons that you learned from those mistakes?
Oh my God. First of all, you know what? I get goosebumps. And I got to tell you this, every time that I present, even to this conversation, of course, my team has a little calendar program, but I'm very spontaneous. I just want to kind of like build this, which is an amazing, conversation. And that question that you're asking, I think for everyone that is listening, is the foundation of who you're going to be. I got to tell you something. The Every lesson will be repeated until you learn it. I made huge mistakes. And as a human beings, we always are born with two emotions, fear and love. If something bad happened to me, I remember, and I'm going to give you an example. My mom always cultivate the fact that, hey, I may not look aristocratic. I may not have blue eyes. I may not be a little lighter, but she said, you are beautiful. I remember my first day walking at Donna Karan, one of the most incredible buildings in the city. I have my leather jacket, my Burger King bag. I'm excited. The receptionist said to me, excuse me, the delivers are in the back. What happened? I was ready to answer. If I answer based on fear, I was going to cry and say, you are a B, you don't know who I am. But I answered based on love. And I said, it's my first day. You don't know me. I'm the new designer from Donna Karan. Make long story short, today, 20 years later, she's one of my clients. And she said to me, you showed me that I could not judge the book by its cover. One mistake that I did was basically number one, if I didn't have any guy, I was trying to find success based on the stories of Carolina, Oscar, and Ralph Lauren. The issue was that I didn't come from money. And my first collection, if it did 60 pieces, I wanted to do 60 pieces. And I remember in my first delivery, I said, no, I have to be at the same standard. Be at the same standard doesn't mean that you have to do the same. Because I could create one dress, and if that dress has the quality, the emotion, the concept, that can oversee everything else. So one of my biggest mistakes is I did this beautiful collection of 9 dresses that they were sitting in a store next to Stella McCarthy, Ralph Lauren, and Michael Kors. I did not sell. I only sell 20% of that collection, and I lost so much money. But then you know what I realized? You cannot sell if you don't brand. So before you present a collection, you need to understand that selling is a transaction based on trust and it's at the end of the formula. You need to brand. And what is branding? Branding is repeat why you have a place in fashion, why you are going to be the new brand that not everybody but people are going to relate. That was mistake number one. Then I realized that I have to start with my own limits, with my own criteria, and in my own way. Number two, I felt that I was feeding my ego because I wanted to have a studio. I wanted to have a store. And I didn't know that if the sales are not speaking to you in numbers that you can relate, 90% of the failures of new designers today is because they want to go so fast. Can I tell you something? I work today for big companies. They give me the money and I work with my brand from 6 to midnight because I understand that I don't want desperation to be part of my formula. And when you don't have money, you say yes to anything. And that's when you start losing control of your brand. You start losing, because I got to tell you this, talent is everywhere, but also these sharp people with money that can perceive and say, you know what, I'm going to give you the money, but I'm going to get 51% of your business. Then what happened? This is a good example. Christian Siriano, super talented. Today, he doesn't own much of the company. And when I start learning those big mistakes, I start saying, okay, you know what? I don't need, because people say that when you're a fashion designer, you need to portray a facade that is all BS. In my case, the more real I was, sorry that I get a little emotional because when I talk about this story, it get a part of my life that is, sorry, is and I remember, it was really hard, and I feel that I decided to just step back and said, what can I say with my means that can be memorable for other people? Sorry what I told you that we're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry, because to me, this is what I think a good friend can do. And I remember that in that collection, what I said is like, no, you know what? I'm not gonna portray something that I'm not. I think that the most powerful sentence that I have is I don't know. And then I let this speak for itself. So that was another mistake that I did, that I said, you know what? I have to be real. I have to brand before I sell. And third is that everything that I design has to be driven by three words that will build my identity. In my case, I love shine, sheer, and flow. So from a dress to a top to a pant, shine, sheer, and flow. For example, when we talk about Americana, we think about Ralph Lauren. When we talk about minimalistic, we talk about Calvin Klein. When we talk about romantic, we talk about Carolina Herrera and Oscar de la Renta. And you always have to answer, where is my place? It's okay to not know the place. But those three words, and sometimes I tell people, three of your best characteristics personally can become your brand. Because if somebody's quirky and funny and extroverted, you have that brand called Marnie, which is very abstract. If you're fun, free spirit, you can be what is it called? Oh my God, Ulla Johnson or one of the styles. So that's kind of like have been mistakes that I learned and that have propelled me to where I am today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That cleared up some things. Thank you.
No. You have another question? Please let me know, because I think those are the things that, see, you made me even cry, because I think sometimes I feel it's like, when I do TV interviews, one question that pierces my heart is, what is success for Raul? And success for me comes with many nights that I cry, many nights that I was like feeling not worth it. But my mom always said to me, that insecurity is gonna end when you close your eyes. And the next day you have another incredible day full of opportunities. So that's why, I'm an open book, as you can see.
Thank you so much. You just answered my follow-up question, which was, what do you do to build up your confidence in those times where it's
What? Yeah, but you know what? I think that we can never build confidence, but it's okay to be you. And you know what? The kids are never afraid of what people think of them. A kid is always honest in all the answers. And my mom used to say to me, you need to grow up to be a responsible man, but never forget 10% to be the Raulito. And the Raulito will be spontaneous. And I think that nowadays, the world has shown that, oh my God, I have to have a filter. I have to have the best life. And the perfection doesn't exist. And I think today, what you saw today is what separates my brand from the rest. When people see me in the parties and I'm like, you know what? I have no clue. For example, Tom Brown. I admire Tom Brown. And I saw him last year for the first time in one of the parties for the CFDA. And I went and asked him, Tom, what is success for you? You know what I say? He said, Raul, I had no clue what I was doing. And when somebody is honest, it tells you, you know what? If he doesn't know, what the hell? I'm okay too. Thank you.
Awesome. I see there is a question from Irina in the chat. She asked very practical question: how to sell the collection?
Perfect. You know what? To sell the collection is simple, a transaction based on trust. As I said before, you cannot sell if people don't know who you are. You can put a garment, and the garment, when people say, oh my God, that is so and so designer, and people say, oh my God, he's a sustainable brand. Every time that I buy a dress, one tree is going to be planted in the Amazon forest. So I think that how you sell, you have to start from your inner circle to the outer. What it does for me, and this is a true story, I've been in the business for 14 years. I did not sell one dress until year 7. And you know what was my mistake? The mistake was not the dress. The mistake that I had not found my customer, the age, and where that customer was living. Because I used to do this gown, and I used to go to Soho, the Meatpacking District. And guys, my friends will tell me, Raul, you have an expensive hobby. But what happened is, like, I've been working for this company. I would put the money because I'm like, F everybody. I'm not gonna be desperate that an investor is gonna come. So when I went to the Upper East Side at the Baccarat Hotel, I remember one show, I only have like $60 on my pocket, and we sold like crazy. So my point to you is, like, start inviting friends, start spreading the word. And then obviously, if you already have an established business with a brand identity, I don't recommend to sell in the department store because the department stores are going down. I recommend Google a specialty store. There is 250 store in the US called a specialty store. And what specialty store is the mom and the pop stores that has customers, and usually are in major cities, where you can have a better deal. Also, selling, again, guys, is not pushing a product. Selling is telling, hey guys, this is me as a designer, and the sales will come. But that's how I feel you sell. Obviously, if you're established, you can get a sales rep, but sometimes it's better to get a sales rep that has the best relationship with the store, not the big ones, because if you're starting and you're gonna be in Saks Fifth Avenue, just because you're inside doesn't mean that you're making money. What is important is Saks see, okay, this is Gucci and this is Maria. Nobody knows who's Maria. They're gonna put you in the 4th floor by the elevator. Gucci has the most traffic place on the store. So for selling, I'm always said, and it works for me, do like a little trunk shows. Gather 20 people, say, listen, I'm gonna have this collection, and start selling that way. Because you know what? My mistake when I did this big collection at the beginning, I got stuck with like 120 dresses. Now what I do is I do a collection by occasion, not by season.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Greta?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's a question, but you know, your honesty really just touched something. And I remember when I started my brand, I was really struggling with, you know, showing myself to the world. And I was like, what should I do? Should I, you know, hide my personality and just do something, you know, create some sort of image? Or should I be true to myself and just really put myself out there? And I made that hard decision, that was back then for me, just to put myself out. And, you know, I'm also very emotional, and it's just, you know, also very true. And I guess my question would be where the courage comes from, because sometimes, you know, it takes courage to be honest, to say that I'm afraid, to say that I don't know, to just show all the emotions, good and bad. So I guess that would be my question, and this is also something that I really admire of you.
Oh, thank you. No, you know, I think that in my case, when you come from nothing, there is no lower that I can go. So I think my courage was coming from, I don't have time to have a facade, right? But I learned that in New York specifically, when I go to the editors of Vogue and you see somebody who's at the receptionist, that person thinks that she's the Queen Elizabeth. And I'm thinking, it's like, why? Now, the beauty of being yourself is this, is that um, even as simple as this, you know that, for example, TikTok, the most messy the videos, the more people are the more that catch your attention because you connect. In my case, I swear, when I started, I'm a little bit of clumsy and I wear my emotions. And I think that that's why, even for example, when I present a collection, um, I don't have a PR, but then I'm in the Today Show, Fox, CNN, Telemundo, Univision, because the producer said, when you get Raul, you get the real deal. And there is an interview that I'm crying and then I'm like, sorry, guys. Because you know what? At the end of the day, guys, we're doing something that we love. And I think that when I was younger and you throw a white light, you have to do another light for this light. And at the end of the day, it's a mess. So I think that that's what sets me apart. And now one thing is you become your brand. And you said something important. I never doubted that, hey, I cannot fake. You know what is the slogan on my brand? Show the world who you are. And show the world who you are, because I said it's like, come on, we want to see a handsome man, a beautiful girl with a beautiful dress in a castle with flowers. But how much that can relate to you? And you know what? Success to sell is based on authenticity of your true self. And one tell you one thing, at one point in your career, the brands, I'm sorry, you become the brand. And I think have courage, and that's why now that I'm part of Friends of CFDA, it's amazing because Tom Brown, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, they all have like a homework, right? And when I was part of it, they said, Raul, what is gonna be your legacy? And I'm like, hell, my legacy is to vouch for the people like me, for the people, the underdog, for the people who said, I have no idea what the hell am I doing. Please help me. Because those are the most of the people in this earth. So you know what? Courage is a word that every night when I go to sleep, between my pillow and my mind and my soul, I tell God to let me continue having it as if I'm brushing my teeth. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, because I also sometimes just, talking about the God, I just sometimes also think about it that God, take my hands and do what needs to be done. Because I don't have formal education in fashion design. And sometimes, it feels like, is it a bit of delusional for me to think such things? But in the end of the day, the doors open and it feels like I'm on a good path. So maybe my pray before the sleep is paying back.
And I gotta tell you, look at this. You say something amazing. You know what? There was one collection, because every collection that I do is inspired in a personal emotion, whether happiness or sorrow. My collection is the way that I express it into the world. There was one collection called Arrow, and the arrow basically needs to go back in order to move forward. So at any point in your career, if you fail, your only responsibility is to find a lesson of that failing. Because you know what? My God, for 7 years, no dresses, no sale, people will be like, you're crazy. And in 1 year, everything changed.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome, love.
Awesome. Let's get to Chinenia.
Hello. Hi.
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 So, I don't know. I'm like in the beginning stages of like me trying to find my own identity because, when because this is, designing something that I've always wanted to do since I was younger. And, I didn't really pursue it because of so many things going on around me. But now I'm like really pursuing it and I'm trying to like figure out my identity when it comes to what it is. Because, of course, I love wedding dresses and I love evening wears, which is what I'm trying to push towards, but I also, sometimes look at my closet and I say, what are things that, because I feel like I don't really have an identity of what I'm trying to build. I'm just seeing what everyone else is doing and I really like it, but I'm really kind of at the stage where I'm just like, but what is my own identity? And that's like something I've been trying to do for the past couple months was like, okay, I'm loving other people's work. It's not like jealousy when I look at other people's work. It's just like, wow, I want that. But just because I want something doesn't mean that is what my identity is about. So like, how do you maneuver around like seeing all these amazing things around you and still don't know like what, like you said, what my brand should be? Because while I do love fancy clothes, I also do love making simpler clothes too. So I'm trying to like find a balance between simpler and extravagant dresses. How do you like maneuver like in that beginning stages when you're trying to figure out yourself and what it
No,
is
you
you
know
want
what?
to do for
I
yourselves?
gotta tell you, you have such a beautiful smile, by the way. And you know what? One thing is this: I think that it's normal what you're going through. What you experience is absorbing, and there is two different scenarios that you have to switch, change that switch. Number one is admiration because you need to see what other people are doing.
Mhm.
What I will suggest to find who is what works for you, and you said it perfectly. Maybe what I see doesn't necessarily mean that it's me. So everything that has to start from within yourself and to narrow down things. Because let's see, you like both. That doesn't mean that you can have both, but you need
Yeah.
to start with one. And that one is the one who's going to give you the visibility, and then you can do whatever you want. I usually tell people because that's a question is one of the most incredible questions people ask. And it's like, bro, a collection, I see 20 pieces, I dress it. I said, do one. But if that one, when you open, and I'm gonna give you a homework to do. When
Okay.
you finish today, forget about the luxurious, the over the top, because I think we all love that. That's aspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Go into your closet, and tomorrow, whatever you're gonna pick from that closet, that is basically either you like color, either you like uptight. Start writing down three words. You say, "Oh my God, I gravitate to the orange. I gravitate towards a silhouette." Forget about because what you're saying is like you are admiring the aspirational element of something that is already done, and that's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful because that's gonna be your intaking information. What you need to do is like, I love it, but let me just filter it down for me. So when
Okay.
you get to that closet, let's say, for example, you're a person who will, this is an example. I wear very neutral colors. I'm like, okay, neutral story. But I'm also love the quirky prints, quirkiness. Four things. And based on that, you can start designing your first piece. And now, the one thing is this: once you finish this homework, you need to commit to that repetitive, even though that you think I'm stuck. No, I one of my closest friend is one of the guys from Pro and Schuler, a super successful brand. And you know what he said to me almost like 15 years ago? I only have money for one pattern. And I'm like, Lazaro, how can I do? I don't have any money. He's like, use the pattern, cut it, put sleeves, put this thing. And I've been using that pattern for 14 years, and that have become the best seller, the replenishment of my brand. So your homework is gonna be basically the the elaborate dresses and everything are gorgeous. Let's see that that's gonna be you are a step a little bit ahead. Right now, what you should do is even when you go, for example, to a restaurant, what kind of food do you like? How you dress better when you are running at the gym or when you are super casual to the friends? And when you are so tied into one different scenario, I gotta tell you, you can start your brand. That's why you see, for example, Lululemon, only for the gym. You see Tommy Hilfiger, red, white, and blue. So I think that use that one, and look at this for example, for me, I always like shine, I always like sheer, and I always like flow. And you see every of my collection, I put that. So today, people know that my brand and myself is the perfect balance of two words: seductive without being trashy, elegant without being old. And again, the fact that you are repetitive into what you do doesn't mean that you don't have, because people misunderstand creativity with so much information that you don't know what to do. And I cannot concentrate. I'm even worse. So start simpler. Even for example, I tell people, be known for one item. I don't know if you remember Diane van Fostenberg. She was known for the wrap dress. And that wrap dress make her billions. That's why to me, people say to me, you are like an American designer, but you're Latino. Where are the prints? And I'm like, who said that I have to do prints? There is a company called Farm Rio who does incredible prints. That's what they were known for. Like I said, look at Cucinelli from Italy. All he does is everything in tan, khaki, taupe. And now you see who that person is. If you are an animal lover, you can have a cruelty-free brand. Start with something that you said, you know what, that's my life. And that can be also trace of you. Oh my God, you know what, I'm kind and generous. So maybe I'm gonna do a brand that if somebody buy a pair of something, I donate $1 to plant trees, whatever. And that's is gonna how you're gonna start building your story. But start small. And let me tell you, any question you have, send me a DM on Instagram, and I will answer seriously. Because to me, see you where you are, I can see myself where I was. And let me tell you, it's a weird space because because you don't know where to go, girls. But there is a friend, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for that because right now it's very, very like confusing.
I was
And
gonna say the same word, confusing, but
yeah, it's very, very confusing where I'm just like, I want everything, but I can't do everything.
no, it's like, and look at this. You can be a bridal designer, but also you can be a designer who does socks. And you know, socks is the item that sells the most in the world, and it costs the most. And then, you know, there is Bombas who does socks and they donate one socks to the homeless. Of course, when I go buy socks, I want to buy socks for these people. So it's great that you can admire everything, but take it down a notch. That doesn't mean that when you build your empire, because you will, you can have anything you want.
Thank you.
And any question, let me know. I'm ready. I'm one message away from Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, everybody send me a and I will follow you back. That's my code to people so I can have a direct contact in Instagram, okay?
I'm gonna share, I shared Raul's Instagram in our community in the link of this event. So you can find it here and I'm gonna reshare it again in the community. So, but you just type his name, you won't miss it. Raul, I have a quick question for you also. This light. So we all talk about creativity and about finding yourself, but a lot of people, including myself and Tatiana, my mother, and you as well, sometimes you need to start working for someone to learn. And that's where the struggle comes, right? So you have to, in a way, put yourself aside and work for someone, but you also need to develop your own vision, your own taste. So can you just help to find the balance? How did you do it?
Well,
and
you know
to
what?
give advice for beginners.
No, that's a crucial question related to success. Because you know what? Unless you are a Rockefeller or you're a billionaire and you can just keep doing things, I think that it makes more sense. And in my case, we all gonna make mistakes. You making mistakes, I'm making mistakes. What if the mistakes are smaller because are based on where you were? And also, I gotta tell you something, guys. Parson and FIT, today I do a speaking engagement. They're good classes. You have an incredible academy. But when you are in the real world, things are a little different. And I would suggest, even all my students that I coach, I said, you know what? Shadow somebody. Like I have a lot of students that shadow me at the studio and they see me how I interact. And I say, you know what? When I was at Oscar de la Renta, Blood, I will have a little book. Nobody's going to tell you, Blood, you're going to get the fabrics today. Tomorrow you're going to sketch. You know what I was doing? I was like looking at Oscar, talking to the press in the fashion show. And I'm like, Oscar is talking to the press. Oh, Oscar is changing the models. So you have to find your own way. But the best advice is to shadow somebody, to work for somebody. And if you want to find somebody, try to find somebody who can basically align with what you want to do. I wanted to be in the luxury business of dresses and fantasy. So I want to be with Oscar de la Renta, with Zach Posen, with Donna Karan, and Tommy Hilfiger. So I think that that's important. Even Blood, up to today, I consult for huge companies that they know me because today I'm self-funded. I don't have any investors. And yes, I need investors, but I think that put the mentality that, oh, I want to create my own brand. Yeah, you can create your own brand, but you need to shadow somebody. And the other thing is like, I never knew that putting those names in my resume were gonna catapult me to be like, wow, it's a great start. Because when people say, you work for Oscar de la Renta, you work for Donna Cara, you work for Tommy Hilfiger, you work for Zach Posen, people will be happy to work for one. And you know what, guys, if you really want it, you don't make excuses and you find the time.
Yeah, so basically, do not think it is beneath you. You should work for other people. It's gonna help you on your way, and to learn from them.
And even do internships. You can do an internship for a summer. I have a program, and you know what? Even if you have people in New York that with Parson and FIT, would they have different levels of students, or you will have the intermediate, or we have the people who already have businesses and they want to say, Raul, can I come? For example, when we do, it's called the market week. Market week is basically after finishing my show, all the specialty store come to my studio and we start selling the collection. So even an internship is great. Okay?
Yeah, that's great. Wow, Raul, every time when I speak to you, it's a roller coaster of emotions. And my mind is always blown. There's so many ideas and so much to think about. And guys, there is something I want to tell. Raul didn't ask me to, and he didn't want me to tell you, but I think it's a good thing to do. So Raul is working on something really special, Peñaranda Academy. He works on his mission to help other designers in this world. Something that he already said. So I thought it would be great, Raul, if you tell just a few words about your upcoming project, because I believe it will be really, really helpful for our members, for everybody who joined us today.
Well, number one, Blood, I think that our collaboration is incredible because you're building knowledge, you're building sparring. And my Peñaranda Academy, I just want to have the two comparison, is basically a friend that is going to introduce you to people that you can ask direct questions. So Peñaranda Academy, if everybody is there, there is a link, a pillar link on my Instagram. And basically, if you register, you're going to get basically a book of how to break into the fashion world. What Peñaranda Academy is simple like this. I do have tons of connections from editors, from Vogue, from merchandise, from people selling, where you can buy your fabric, where you can buy the zipper. And this Peñaranda Academy is simply a community of fashion lovers. I'm not a fashion designer by school, but I love fashion. Where every month, we're going to launch it in September, we're gonna do like this 1 hour where I'm gonna bring experts in fashion. Like I'm gonna bring the CEO of Calvin Klein, or I'm gonna bring one fashion supermodel. And you, for example, if you have a question, I may not be the right person to answer because I'm the designer. But if I have a friend, which is the editor of Vogue, you can ask, hey, how can I be in a Vogue magazine? How can I be, you know what I mean? So Peñaranda Academy is just simply a platform um, that the mission is to help others to achieve their dream. Now, one thing is this: I can be your best friend and inspire you and guide you, but if you don't want it, it's not going to be successful. I just want to make sure to do that. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Uh-oh. Sorry, that was a phone
Yeah,
call
you're
just
good.
came in. That's it.
Yeah. So it's basically for designers who are really up for the next step. That would be really helpful for them.
Yes, exactly. And you know what is this is for all levels. We have from designers to people who already have businesses, because sometimes you know what, when you're successful in New York, Blood, is because you network with somebody else and somebody else introduce you somebody, and that's what is part of this thing. So yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically less of the lessons and more of the actual networking with actual people.
Yes.
Awesome. No, that's beautiful. Wow. Yeah, that's been a blast. I see. We have time for one more quick question. We have 8 minutes. I see Kiona is raising her hand, and let's give her a chance.
Of course, we have to do a sequel, Blood. We have to do
Oh,
another
yeah.
one.
Hi, thank you for taking my question. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you. You have such a great energy. Tell me, love.
Thank you. And I love you. You're amazing. Thank you for having him on. You're amazing. I'm like, I can't wait to work with him.
Oh,
I have
good,
a
good. Because
question.
we will. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Okay. I serve the modest community, and I wanted to know. I noticed that my brides are pretty much they're able to afford around the $800 to $2,000 range. Nothing more than that. Although they're looking for the couture style dresses from other designers, they're just not able to afford that couture style dress, but they want it. And I feel like I'm that designer to give that to them because that's pretty much I love that look, that style. And I want to be that designer that creates these couture style dresses that like people like Oscar de la Renta, all the designers you were mentioning have. But the only thing is my question to you is how do I present that in a way, not just present it, but how am I able to create these designer type of style couture dresses if they're not able to afford it?
Well, I think that, this is such an incredible question because I think I don't know you, but I know you're business focused.
Yeah.
And I love that because you already know, when you know, for example, your range of price, you already have half of the battle. My suggestion will be this: there is usually in the pyramid of fashion, there is what we call atelier, designer, and diffusion. Obviously, like my dresses atelier, as you said, they start in a price range exactly like Dior, Fendi, Oscar de la Renta, because from day one I said this is my bracket. But my issue is like I need to start translating and talking to the 800 to 2000, but that consumer are the daughters of my ladies. And you know what I'm doing is basically, because we're a sustainable brand, and in my studio, none of the leftovers of fabric goes to waste. We buy this Italian Pima cotton shirt and we do patchwork with sequin, and we sell those to the daughters. So I'm start catering and talking to them. In your case, number one is like, where are you based?
I'm about 20 minutes away from San Francisco, California.
Perfect. So you're in the US. So
Yeah.
we're gonna connect on LinkedIn. We're gonna connect on Instagram, because I think what you need is just a friendly introduction to these ladies who launch, because these ladies are in San Francisco, are in New York, are in the Hamptons, are in Aspen. What is happening to you is like you have your niche, and please do not keep that niche loyal.
Yeah.
What you need to do is basically, and I don't know what is the name of your brand, the other one can be called put the word atelier.
Yeah.
And that, because you never want to say people, you are here and you're here. No, I'm always told about there is frequencies. And within the frequency, there is atelier and there is Raul. Raul is my designer level, which is similar to Saks and Bergdorf. I don't do diffusion because my diffusion is gonna be when companies come and they're gonna license in my name. So you see that I'm very narrow because you know what? My goal, if you know Schiaparelli, is to be like that because Schiaparelli is the only couture house in the world. They don't have stores, but the people are going crazy selling the 10,000, 20,000, which is our range go from like 10 to 35,000. And we sell like how, to your point, is basically all I can tell you is a network. Let's see, for example, you say, Raul, I'm going to be in September in New York for Fashion Week. Come to my show. In the shows are going to be ladies. As long as you know one person on that thing and you speak with your heart and you show who you are, and most important, why I'm going to turn my face and buy your dress, that person is going to bring you another one. And that's what happened with me. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome. Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a great question, and Raul, thank you for these answers. Wow. Well, we can continue this for hours, but unfortunately, we have to end for tonight, guys. Thank you everybody for coming. Raul, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor and it's a lot of fun. Every time when we speak, I always tell you it's a lot of fun because it is. And I'm going to share the contacts. Raul, I put your Instagram in the chat. I'm going to share it in the community for everyone, and it's already in the description.
And one thing, if, for example, guys, you guys go into the Peñaranda Academy and you want to get in the waiting list with your name and number, please add Dressmaking Academy, so I know that you're coming from Blood. And that way, because to me, like I said, this waiting list is to basically to start gathering information to everybody. So if you do that, that would be amazing. And Blood, I told you, we were introduced to a friend of us called Miles, and didn't he told me about you, he told you about me, and this is magic. And I'm very, very, if they want, we should do another sequel about this, just to continue answer question, okay?
Yes, I think that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, I also wanted to say, I remember you told me that you are not accepting everyone for the Peñaranda Academy. So that's important that people would tell you where they're coming from as well, because it's because of the nature
it's a lot of people.
thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. If they put, I don't know how you want to call it, but maybe they can put your name or Dressmaking Academy.
The Dressmaking Academy is the easiest. Guys, awesome. Okay, we need to wrap this up. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart.
No, thank you. And everyone that is listening, 3 words. Guys, dream because it's freaking free. Make sure that dream become to a vision. And if you don't want to be one of the 9 billion people in the world doing what you don't like, make sure that becomes a reality. So dream, vision, reality. All right? See you guys. Bye-bye.